Okay, well, hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Community Energy Cooperative Canada's 2026 Community Energy Series. Today's event is brought to you in partnership with the Community Energy Association and has been funded by the Government of Canada's Low Carbon Economy Fund Implementation Revenue Stream, and of course, Quest Canada. So a big thank you to them. My name is Jody Cornwell. I am your host today on behalf of Community Energy Cooperative Canada. And I'm also joined by a number of presenters from across Western Canada and even Europe. So some brief housekeeping. This is a meeting and not a webinar. So we do request that you keep your microphones muted during the presentation portion of the event. And please feel free to use the chat function as we go through the presentations to add your questions. And we will have a little bit of time after the presentations to cover those off. Slide, please. Thank you, Marianne. So before we get started, I would like to just take a moment to acknowledge the lands that we're each joining from today. We're coming together from many different places across what is now known as Canada. And I really would like to recognize and honor the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have cared for these lands and waters since time immemorial and who continue to hold deep connections to them. And as we talk about community energy and sustainability, we really should do so with humility and a recognition that there is so much to learn from Indigenous knowledge and stewardship of these lands. And I'm really grateful that we have the opportunity to gather in this shared virtual space and continue working together towards a more just and sustainable future that includes everyone. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you, Jody. And just to continue with acknowledging where we are, many of the people in this webinar today and on the lands that we are going to be discussing today live and work in Treaty 1 to 6, 8, and 10 territories. So we'd like to acknowledge that across Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And similarly, I've also got two pictures up here of large solar installations on the prairie. And I just wanted to acknowledge that First Nations are some of the early owners and adopters of large solar installations in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and some of the biggest contributors to solar energy projects currently on the prairie. So at the top is one of the larger projects in Saskatchewan that is tied into SaskPower's grid. And then on the bottom, a smaller but also significant project from the Fisher River Cree Nation and their solar project in Manitoba that is currently in negotiation with Manitoba Hydro to be tied into the grid there and possibly expanded.
Thank you, Marianne. And so to kick things off, I'd just like to take the opportunity to introduce a couple of our speakers today. So joining me on behalf of the Community Energy Association is Marianne, who you've just heard from. Marianne Dohler is an earth and environmental scientist who has been with CEA since 2021. She has a background in the energy sector. She's a data analyst. She likes research and GIS, and she has a passion for renewable energy and using her specific skill sets to further environmental education and community resiliency. From CEA, we also have Peter Robinson. Peter is a director of climate planning for CEA. He supports communities in Canada with energy planning, inventories, and renewable energy. We also have Cas Bijlholt joining us. He's the founder and CEO of a company called iChoosr. They're Dutch-based and they have developed a residential group buying model which supports municipalities and residents to purchase clean energy installations such as solar, batteries, and heat pumps in high numbers. And so far, they've realized over 250,000 clean energy installations. That's quite a number. Cas will be joined by his colleague from iChoosr, and she is based in Canada, Victoria Coffin. She's based in Hamilton, Ontario. And last but certainly not least, we have Bert Weichel. Will be representing the SES Solar Co-op today. Bert has worked as a consulting ecologist as well as an environmental science instructor at the University of Saskatchewan and has been active on the boards of several environmental NGOs over the past 4 decades. He's a member shareholder of the SES Solar Co-op and has been since its inception, and he currently serves as the secretary and is also one of two SES directors appointed to the Solar Co-ops board. Next slide, please, Marianne. And so for some context, I'd just like to briefly introduce the Community Energy Cooperative Canada, otherwise known as CECC, before turning things over to our partners at the Community Energy Association. So CECC is the national voice for renewable energy cooperatives. We work to support community-owned clean energy all across Canada, and we exist to strengthen the cooperative model within Canada's energy transition with a mission to empower communities and citizens to produce, manage, and share energy. Our vision is a cleaner, inclusive energy future where nobody is left behind. We promote renewable energy, energy efficiency, conscious consumption, and meaningful participation, with a lens focusing on Indigenous, rural, and marginalized communities. And with that introduction, I'm going to hand it over to Peter.
Hi, the Community Energy Association, we're a non-profit organization and a registered charity. And we're about, I think, 30 years old, so extremely old. I've been with CA for 17 of those years. And essentially, all we do is we support communities in Canada with energy sustainability and climate action. So whether that's, climate action on the mitigation side of things or the adaptation side of things, we do both. And we have about 50 people now. When I joined, I was the fourth to join, and it's been quite the ride to that expansion. Okay, next slide, please. So I think this is Marianne or Jody.
Sure. Thanks, Peter. Our objectives today with this webinar are to learn about the various models of residential and community solar programs. We're going to look at a Solarize or a group buy style of program, community solar and co-ops, as well as concierge services, so solar concierge services. We're going to be drawing inspiration from our guest experts after listening to their presentations, who can currently operate solar programs. And then with those, we're going to do some breakout rooms and we're going to connect with other peers in this meeting to brainstorm opportunities for implementing these types of programs in communities and municipalities. So those are our objectives today. And with our agenda, we're going to also try to introduce each other shortly in some very short breakout rooms. We're going to look at an overview of solar on the Prairie. Then we're going to get into our solar program models and finally that breakout discussion. And hopefully we'll have enough time for a good breakout discussion. So before we wrap up. So we'll move on to our quick introductions. And this is just a place where, a few of us will be in a small breakout room together. So introduce who you're representing today, what your interest is in solar, maybe some interesting things that you've learned or seen with solar projects on your journey. And Jody, I think we'll be able to divide us all up into those rooms.
Sure, you should get an invitation to a breakout room. Please join the room and
Thank you.
Welcome. Hi everyone, please turn yourselves off mute and introduce yourself. Say hello, where are you from? Why are you here? What are you hoping to learn?
I
My
can
name's
go.
Raquel. Go ahead.
All right. My name's Drake Hankinson. I manage partnerships for Solar YYC. So we're obviously a solar installation company, but more broadly, I'd say we focus on electrification and efficiency. We've been operating for 10 years, and we do everything solar, EV charging stations, heat pumps, battery backup, etc. We do everything in-house, so we're not like door to door at all. We're not one of those solar companies. I want to be very clear. Um, and I'm excited to be here today because I see the value in different partnerships with community energy groups and co-ops. One of my mentors is I've transitioned. I used to work in SaaS, like software as a service, but now coming into the real world of electrification. One of my mentors, he's a founding member of the Ottawa Renewable Energy Co-op. So he often guides me through that lens, and I see a lot of value in terms of us as an installation provider partnering with different community organizations like this. And I also think they're very forward thinking, especially when you look at the Alberta grid.
Thanks, Drake. Raquel, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. I am with the Solar Power Investment Cooperative of Edmonton. We're focusing on the greater Edmonton region. We're also forming an Alberta hub with other Alberta cooperatives and all under the umbrella of CECC. With their support and their excellent papers they're getting out lately, it's very appreciative. Thanks.
Thanks, Rocky. I'm going to hand it over to Samantha. We have about 1.5 minutes left.
Sorry guys. Try to make it quick. Hi, my name is Sam, and I'm actually coming from the Center for Indigenous Environmental Resources. The reason why I came to this meeting because my boss asked me to. But we're actually working on this like energy project with communities. We do the energy audits on their buildings, commercial buildings, and we're also kind of like looking for the new opportunities to do their retrofit and also renewable energy projects as well. So yeah, I think I'm coming here to this meeting, so just trying to understand and trying to explore, is there any opportunities or like coming up like new ideas for the projects as well. So
Great.
yeah, that's all for me.
That's awesome. We're gonna have lots of time to chat about that later on. Jordan?
Yeah.
Hi, really quick. My name is Jordan McDonald. I work with a local not-for-profit community economic development organization in Western PEI, and I was encouraged to join because we're part of a Quest program happening out here, so just here to learn more.
Awesome. Welcome, Jordan. Meadow, last but certainly not least.
Yes, I'm Meadow. I'm a board member on the SES Solar Co-op based out of Saskatoon, and somewhat in the rest of Saskatchewan. Mostly just here to learn and support Bert since he's one of our speakers today. So, happy to learn more from all of you.
Awesome. Thanks, Meadow. And that was perfect timing. So we're gonna head back into the main session. People will be joining us shortly. Hi, Erin.
Hi.
We should be getting everyone coming back to the room very shortly. Erin, were you part of our room? I'm just making sure that everyone's pinging back now.
I've just reshared my screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Hopefully we're still there.
Yep, I think we're all back. Marianne, if you'd like to click over to the next slide, that'd be great.
Great. So this is over to my set of slides. So today, of course, we're talking about Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And just to highlight, so these figures are from CanRIA, and they're estimates for how much solar, as well as also other technologies like batteries and wind, are installed in all the different provinces and territories of Canada, including estimates for what is behind the meter. In other words, what is essentially what we're talking about today, mostly what we're talking about today on the customer side. So Saskatchewan has about 108 megawatts and Manitoba has about 41 megawatts. Now, if you compare to some other provinces, you can see and territories, you can see, for example, Alberta or Ontario are far ahead of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Saskatchewan is kind of just behind BC, where BC is at the moment, and as you can see, both provinces are ahead of Quebec. I mean, you can see all the different provinces and territories kind of in different places on this. There's kind of a mix of reasons for that, but it is interesting if you go on to the next slide. That this is despite the fact that Saskatchewan and Manitoba, as you can see on the map here, have an excellent solar resource in the Canadian context. So really, the prairies are the place you want to be if you're a solar panel in Canada. And so the best solar resource is Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and so the reason that we have not as much generation as we do in some other places, like I mentioned Ontario, for example, um, is basically because of the business case and also some regulatory factors as well. So next slide. So solar in Saskatchewan has been growing. The utility, we can say, has not been extremely supportive of solar power or renewable energy in general, and has been quite focused on, coal and natural gas, and also is interested in seeing a comeback of nuclear. Having said that, despite this, there has been some growth in solar, as you can see in that chart to the left there. And so you can see some of the installations that have been installed over the years, and you can also see the growth of wind power as well. So, so there has been some growth in solar. And as you can see to the right there as well, some of that, the growth in customer generated solar capacity. Marianne managed to find these numbers. They're buried in some annual reports of SaskPower and managed to find. So customer generated solar in megawatts, you can see the change from year to year. So it's roughly around 5 to 10 or 12 megawatts installed per year for each of about the last 5 years, as you can see. So it's 3,000 homes and businesses now have solar installed in Saskatchewan. Farms can be a number of farms in Saskatchewan have solar as well as an example as part of that in the businesses. Next slide. And now Manitoba, so Saskatchewan might have one of the very dirtiest grids in Canada, certainly the dirtiest out of any of the provinces. Manitoba is one of the cleanest grids. And so Manitoba is dominated by clean hydroelectricity, as you can see, and has an even cheaper electricity as well than Saskatchewan. Now, despite the lower price of electricity, there is some provincial support for solar, and that comes in the form of rebates that are available on the customer side. So on the residential side, and also for some other customers as well. It's not a lot of solar that is regularly being installed in Manitoba. So in 2024, we figure about 270 installations took place in that year, which came to about 2.5 megawatts of solar. So, a bit under 10 kilowatts in installation. And you can see the distribution in the map there, which we have courtesy of Manitoba Hydro. Next slide. So it's interesting that we have pretty nascent solar industries, all told, pretty nascent solar industries in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And this is despite the fact that we have, dropping prices of clean energy. This is across the world in the Clean Energy Equipment Price Index. You can see to the left there, and dropping prices. If you see into the chart to the right, some more specific information which breaks out some other things like wind, solar panels, and also battery storage, and kind of breaks those out more clearly. It's worth noting that solar panel prices in Canada are kept artificially high because of tariffs. So our solar panel prices are probably around 2 or 3 times what they would be in Europe or in China, something along those lines. And so there's probably more potential for solar panel prices in Canada to go down rather than up. So there is, some talk of increased manufacturing, but also tariffs probably can't last forever either. And so when eventually they're reduced or removed, then that'll be good for solar business cases. Next slide. So interesting. So the chart on the left there is an online survey. Again, some information that Marianne dug out from sort of SaskPower's reports. And it basically shows that if you look at where solar power sits with respect to public opinion, it is, you could say, arguably it, and maybe hydro, are first equal in terms of the level of public support that there is in Saskatchewan for different forms of energy, different forms of electricity, so that people either strongly support it or somewhat support it. So far, more support than any of these, than any of the other options, as you can see there. It's interesting also to note that coal power is not something that they put in the chart. Maybe they asked the question, I don't know, but they did not put the information in the chart. To the right, we can also see, just kind of reiterating the numbers with Manitoba Hydro, the numbers of solar installations that took place we had the numbers in 2024 at about 270 installations. So 2023 was a similar year at about 250. And then you can see how it's varied in the previous 3 years as well. So we are talking about pretty nascent solar industries in both Manitoba and Saskatchewan, but there's definitely a lot of potential. And next slide.
I will just add to that quickly, Peter. In all of the public outreach for both provinces, really, the utility did note that reliability of service was the number one concern across both Manitoba and Saskatchewan. So that is something to consider when we look at different solar models and other, consider other renewable energy as well in the provinces.
So in our research, so we're just wrapping up some research right now, well, for Manitoba, for Saskatchewan, and also research for Alberta. And basically, so we're talking about solar models today, but there are some foundational things that is helpful to have in place. So, I mean, either within these models or outside of them. So if a community really wants to support solar within its community, then education and awareness. This is something that we've heard time and time again from solar installers, that there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of people who don't understand some basic things about their about solar power, like how does it work? Do I have to have a battery or not? The answer, of course, is no, and probably all of us here know. But a lot of people don't know really some basic things, really basic things about solar. And so some communities, and you can see the city of Saskatoon here as an example, one of the ways that they try to spread information about solar is they do a solar map. Now, depending on how this is done, it can be expensive or not too bad in price. But basically, it just helps people to understand what the solar resource might be for their particular dwelling, for where they live, and obviously you can direct people towards frequently asked questions and things like that. Okay, next slide. So education awareness is primary. Permitting, streamlining, and reform, also something we heard a lot from installers. There can be quite a wide variety of permitting requirements to different municipalities, some of which, including some small municipalities, have some quite onerous requirements, and that can really put people off, make people's lives difficult, slow things down, increase the cost of solar. So trying to simplify this, streamlining things, also not asking for duplicate information that might be required elsewhere. There's a number of things that can be done to try to simplify things on this. So what some communities do, some communities we've come across have even eliminated the need for building permit for solar on residential dwellings and some commercial dwellings as well, commercial buildings rather. And also some communities have said, well, if your solar installation is within certain parameters, then you don't need to come to us with a building permit. Okay, next slide. Financing. So what some of our research has found has been also that not very many solar installations are funded primarily through cash. And so, having some sort of financing can be extremely helpful. And so if a community is able to put in place financing, or if that can be available through another place, such as on-bill financing through utility as well, then that can really support people in terms of putting in solar. The Greener Homes Loan, obviously from the federal government, was very helpful with respect to this, but that is no longer available. And next slide. Great. Over to Marianne.
Thank you, Peter. So now we're going to dive into the various solar programs that we are going to have a look at today. And in general, we've got three different programs that we're going to be looking at, a bulk purchasing, bulk buy, or a Solarize type of a program that helps to lower the costs for installation for homeowners. We're also going to look at a model of a solar concierge style of program, which will be a program that guides the homeowner through the entire solar process from start to finish. And then we're going to look at solar co-op models. These can have many different features to suit the membership in the community where they have started, and kind of can combine all of the other models within one. So the first one we're going to look at is the Solarize group buy or bulk purchasing type of a program, which really is just a simplified group buy program. Would be just to help owners overcome the barriers to installing solar. This type of program has been around since about 2009 in North America. It might be different in Europe. Started down in Oregon in the US in 2009 with a group of homeowners. The elements of each type of program like this can really vary community to community, but they generally follow these similar steps as they evolve. Starting with awareness and education. Often this is community-led, with advertisements, social media, posters, word of mouth. Often can have like community workshops or Q&A hosted by those community members, maybe with support. That's followed by enrollment, an enrollment period for people to sign up to participate in the group buy program. Sometimes this is presented as a limited time offer. That's really a marketing tool because then it sort of creates that sense of urgency for people to participate. And it does help to jumpstart the program. After the enrollment, it goes to the look for installers and the engagement of installers. So they can be engaged either with an RFP type of a process or an auction process. The contractor bids are evaluated based on criteria that are set up by that group, price per watt, warranty, their local experience, and their capacity to handle multiple installations effectively, as some examples. And then they will do site assessments so that they can look at system design and quotes for the various homeowners. After that, it's really up to the homeowners to make a decision on whether or not they're going to go forward with the program. They'll review the installer builds and either accept them or not. And then, of course, it moves to installation. General benefits, reduced costs, obviously, as it is a group buy program. Reduced complexity in some cases if an installer is able to achieve efficiencies to install multiple similar systems at a time. And the administrator for this type of a program could be a community group, a nonprofit or co-op, could be a third party, or even a municipality can choose this type of program. Municipal benefits, if a municipality is choosing to lead something like this, it really does demonstrate municipal leadership through action and not just policy. It also helps to build public support and confidence for residents because the program is being presented by their municipality, and potentially it's a vetted program, so the installers are vetted by the community as well. It allows the municipalities to standardize or streamline their permitting. And it also helps to accelerate local climate action by actually getting a project off the ground and finishing something. So those numbers can be added up and actually presented to show that the community has actually achieved part of its climate goal. Of course, for a community, it lowers the cost for households to purchase, and provides long-term energy savings with solar energy. So that's a no-brainer. It also creates strong community networks of like-minded individuals, and these are the kind of networks that can create community momentum and encourage future collaboration on additional climate initiatives in their communities. It also builds awareness and understanding, reducing misinformation about solar or renewable energy, and it educates the community through Q&As, word of mouth, webinars. For contractors, again, it can create job creation and also efficiencies, as multiple homes might have the same system design through the program. It also builds trust and supported local contractors, and keeps money in the local economy, which is also a good thing. Environmentally, of course, it's increased renewable energy generation in a community, reducing GHG emissions and supporting local climate targets. And it builds trusts in solar, and it normalizes renewable energy within a community. So if there is any doubt or naysay in a community, that's an important feature of a program like this. So it gives trust in solar. And with that, I am going to introduce our speaker from iChoosr, Cas. This is your section to take away. And Victoria, you're also here. I'm not sure if you're also speaking, but Cas, take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marianne. We started in 2008 in Europe, and we basically developed a group buying model, first for renewable energy switching, then a request of a municipality in the Netherlands, we moved to solar. Basically, we did a renewable energy switching project with them, City of Heergewaard. And we realized a nice discount for their residents. And they, during the evaluation, they asked us, why can't you basically change the model into a group buying model for rooftop solar? Because subsidies were running out at that time, and they thought that the discount of the group buy could basically offset the lack of subsidy that was disappearing. So we talked with them, and finally we concluded that we were going to adapt our model for that, and we agreed with them that they would try to grow the number of cities that were participating. And we ended up with that very first program with 23 cities north of Amsterdam participating, over 12,000 residents participating, and it resulted in 2,100 installations. So quite a big project, way bigger than we anticipated originally. And we understood we really hit upon a need in the market, and we further developed it and brought it from the Netherlands to Belgium, to the UK, to the US, and then later on also to Japan. And everywhere the model is the same. It's really group buying. A lot is about educating residents about renewable energy, about solar, about the simplicity of it, how it all works. And if they're interested, they can register their interest on our platform. There's a lot of information there, and any questions that they have, they can ask a help desk. So we collect a large group of people in that sense. And then we later on go to a reverse auction model. I'll talk about it in the next slide. But for us, it is a model that is proven in every country to work very well. So we're quite convinced that it will help. It will be able to help Canada as well to reach more solar. We really believe that collective action is needed on a residential level, and that group buying is a key method of achieving that at scale. We have really proven that our model can work, and especially when governmental subsidies are running out or being decreased, that our model can really reactivate consumers on a large scale. And that is good for let's say, making progress on the energy transition. Clearly, it's good for the regional workforce. And we have a lot of focus on making it a super smooth customer experience for the consumers. We always collaborate with what we call community leaders, organizations known and trusted by consumers, like local or regional governments or not-for-profits or consumer organizations. And together with them, basically, they provide trust to their members or to their residents. And together we run these campaigns. As you can see in the US, we also operate there, and we have a long-standing successful partnership with a not-for-profit organization called Solar United Neighbors. They operate in 10 plus states. And they really basically help people to go solar and fight for their energy rights. That's their angle. We do a lot of research into how consumers think about solar and how they make decisions about it. Not only let's say, basically motivates them to do it, but especially also what holds them back. What are the things, what are the reasons why they are not going solar? Quite often it's advantageous for them to do so. And by doing all this research and applying that in our communication, we are really able to activate consumers and residents on a large scale in our Switch Together campaigns. As has been said before, we realized over 250,000 sustainable energy installation. That number has even gone up. We did a recent count of our results in 25, and we're now around 290,000, so quite a lot. Around 220,000 of those are rooftop solar. Around 60,000 are home batteries, and the remainder is mainly heat pumps. So that gives you a little bit of an indication. And we're doing everything to scale up. So that is really our push. And this is one of the reasons why we're also, let's say, wanting to become active in Canada. Could you please move to the next slide? So we have phases in the program. It has been explained a little bit before. So we do a large education and activation campaign, always with the municipality, with the community leader. If people are interested, they can register on our online platform. So we collect a large group of residents like that. And then if we go one lower on the installer journey, as we say, there's a pre-qualification process to make sure that we only collaborate with good quality installers. There's a qualification process, and only the ones who are qualified are invited to sign a installer agreement, which clearly specifies both all the material specs, but also the installation specs. And once they sign that, they're invited to participate into a reverse auction. And there, depending on how much installation capacity we need, we select one or multiple installers. And once the auction took place, this basically reduces the price significantly. Normally, every individual resident that is participating will receive a personal recommendation. They will receive a link saying, okay, the auction took place, installer B1. Please click on the link to go to your personal recommendation. And there you see, based on the input that you registered while registering, your roof details and your energy consumption, we will provide you with a personal recommendation, and we try to help you to make a well-informed decision about whether to go solar, yes or no. We're never pushing or selling anything. We're basically helping people to make a well-informed decision. That is our objective. And for the people who do decide that it's an interesting offer and that they would like to proceed, they can accept on our platform. If they do that, we pass their data onto a installer for an inspection, and then, if all goes well, into an installation. Our model has proven to be very efficient, and on average, in the different markets where we operate, we're able to get around 20% discount, 20-25% discount over market rates, and that is really using the volume that we have to create, on the one hand, price pressure, but also we help installers to basically create efficiencies and lower their costs. And so to give you an understanding, in the large volumes that we do, installers can purchase materials at a lower cost. That's part of the discount. They can get more installations done by the installation teams because they can plan them efficiently. Our earning model, our model is that we earn a commission for every install that is happening, and that is a lower cost in comparison to all the other sales channels they have on average. We help them to only get customers who are very interested, and normally, around 50 or sometimes 70 or 80% of the customers that accept on our platform really result into an installation. So all the inspections, which is a lot of work, have a very high chance of converting into an actual installation, which is of course the earning model for an installer. And we explain to them that if you sell to customers one by one, you need a certain margin to have a financially healthy business. But if you get 50 customers or 100 or 500, which sometimes happens in our programs, you can take a much lower margin and still have an attractive project margin. And these components altogether deliver around 20-25% discount. And of course, a significant discount makes it much more interesting for consumers, and the earn back period becomes significantly shorter to invest in solar. It's all about what we call a win-win-win model. Everybody needs to benefit. So residents clearly need to benefit. We offer them a high-quality, sustainable energy installation from a qualified installer at a competitive price. We never say lowest price, but a competitive price, and in a very easy way. And our platform really supports a very smooth and simple customer journey process. And we're always focused on what is the customer satisfaction and what can we do to improve, because it's a big investment for everybody. We'd like it to go as smooth as possible. For the community leaders like municipalities, and then can make progress towards the sustainability goals at no cost, and it's very low effort. We all do all the heavy lifting. All it requires is an official endorsement of the campaign, the Switch Together campaign that we run, and active participation and promotion through the communication channels. And installers, they can really grow their business. They can win a large number of customers, and they can get support to leverage the volume to achieve cost reduction and efficiency benefits, as I just explained. And for us, it's super important. We have a neutral stand, so we really are focusing on ensuring fairness and transparency, and we're completely impartial in this whole process. So we do a strict vetting to make sure that it's high quality. There's one day of reverse auction, which is about price, and the auction itself determines which installer or which installers are the winner, and that's it. This is what we do. It's been very successful in the 5 countries that we're currently operating, and as explained, we're growing. We also would like to expand to Canada, and therefore, thank you very much for inviting us to explain our model here also in this workshop. I have a colleague of mine with me, Victoria Coffin. She's also here in the call. She's based now in Hamilton, Ontario, but she's been in Western Canada for 14 years, living and working there. So she's quite familiar. She's also lived in Saskatchewan. So for sure she can fill in on more details and tell you more on your request. That's my part.
Thank you very much, Cas. And just a reminder, if you have any questions about any of this program, please just pop them in the chat. We will have a Q&A after where Cas and Victoria will be able to answer any further questions. The second solar program is a solar concierge program that I'd like to highlight today. It is a support service that uses a trusted advisor to provide one-on-one guidance from an initial interest for installing solar all the way through to the end installation. The process includes, guiding through permitting, obtaining quotes, reviewing quotes, finding trusted installers for a homeowner, looking at different financing and incentive options if they are available as well. Solar concierge can be municipally run. It could be run through a nonprofit or a co-op or a third-party energy organization as well. So for this presentation today, I'm going to highlight Wascana Solar Co-op because they are a co-op in Saskatchewan that actually provides a solar concierge style of program. Their program is called Solar Way, and it is a structured community-based solar installation support program. They're generally based in the Regina area, but I know that if they had the interest, they could expand that as well. It did start as a group buy idea where a local group of homeowners did pool their interests together to get bulk pricing on solar installs, but it evolved into the Solar Concierge program Solar Way after that. To participate in their program, you have to be a co-op member, but this is easy because you just buy a lifetime share. So it's a one-time purchase of a lifetime share to participate. They do ask for a $300 deposit up front, and that is just to support the custom project design and to secure the installer builds for your installation. The installer then builds the homeowner directly in this program, and that does include an 8% charge, and that's for the solar co-op's services. So that is for the concierge service. SolarWay helps their members by assessing the site and what solar needs they have on their property, designing a custom solar array, and providing an economic analysis of both the ROI and how they will do over time with solar energy, advising on any available government grants or loans that might help with costs. Currently in Saskatchewan, there are no provincial grants for solar, but each municipality does have some variation where they might have individual financing or loan programs. So that is always a possibility depending on where you are. Then they help to request bids from qualified installers that are in the area and guide members through comparing any of the proposals. So you can imagine getting 3 or 4 different proposals from local installers and then comparing those and contrasting them and seeing which one would be the best for your property. And then finally, they actually do perform a final quality check after the installations are complete. And I think that helps to gain confidence with a program like this, especially for anyone who is not as familiar with solar design, or their ROI on the property. So I think that is a nice feature. And just to note, there are other concierge programs in North America. There are 2 that we've looked at in the US, one called New York Sun in New York State. Another is JEA Solar Concierge in Florida. And then notably in Canada, there's also the Peace Energy Co-op that operates up in the northwest of Alberta and northeast BC in the Peace Country. They are a solar co-op that offers a variety of different programs for their members. And one of them is a similar style of consultation support for installations. So that's a good one to also note, because that model is also part of their co-op. The final model that we're looking at is the community solar and co-ops. A simplified community solar process includes the following. First, installation on a host site. The host site could be a community building or municipally owned, or it could be, if you had a ground-mounted system, it could be on municipal-owned land as well. Community members purchase shares or a subscription to participate in the project. And then participating members benefit financially from the electricity that's generated from that project. They can either get dividends or potentially through other means if they get credits on their electricity bill, depending on the setup of that type of project. Municipalities can participate by offering host sites as well as their communication channels to get the word out on these types of projects. And one of the major benefits of this type of community co-op is that it allows those who can't install solar on their own property to then participate in advancing solar in their community. And that could be through, people who are residing in apartments or renters of homes who can't install solar on their own property. So it gives everybody it gives a community a way to participate and to further climate action, even if they can't personally install solar or other renewable energies. And with that, I'm going to pass this off to our final speaker, Bert, from the SES Solar Cooperative.
Great, thanks, Marianne. And I appreciate the preamble that you just gave about community solar co-ops. Because we are a working example of what you were just talking about. The Saskatchewan Environmental Society is a charitable NGO, has been working for over 50 years on sustainability issues. And in 2015, responded to a challenge from Affinity Credit Union, one of our largest credit unions in Saskatoon. They held something called a Business for Good social venture challenge. And through crowdfunding, the SES pulled together enough of a community response that they won a $50,000 prize in that challenge. And so that initiated the first and largest renewable energy co-op in Saskatchewan at the time. Since 2015, we've built 8 solar arrays. We've got 4 on rooftops, and 4 of those are ground-mounted arrays. And we have a variety of host partners. And I think the variety is an important part of what we've done in our early years. We have 2 arrays on the roof of housing cooperatives. We have 2 on commercial businesses. We have one that's in partnership with the civic utility here, Saskatoon Light and Power. Initially as a demonstration project, but it's associated with their landfill gas plant that recovers methane for electrical production. We have one 250 kilometers away, which is a ground mount at the Ness Creek Music Festival site, but that's a year-round facility, so they have a one of our arrays there. And most recently, we upped the scale of things and installed 2 arrays. So in 2 phases, we've put ground-mounted panel arrays on the property of Cas New Holland Industrial, and that is a large agricultural equipment manufacturing facility here in Saskatoon. Our installations operate under 3 different formats. We do have net metering connections. We have some that are signed up as small power producers with the local utility. And the large one at Cas New Holland is a behind the meter installation where all of the power that's produced is consumed on site by the host. So in total, we've expanded to just under a megawatt, to 975 kilowatts of installed capacity. And last year, we produced 782,000 kilowatt hours, and that translates to a greenhouse gas reduction of 560 tons equivalent CO2. Next slide. So our model, and you've alluded to this, Marianne, is that we are set up as a for-profit cooperative, but we're what is referred to as a producer cooperative, consisting of member investors who own our co-op. The arrays are leased to the host partners where they are installed, and the lease fees are set so that they are equal to what those hosts would pay for their electrical rates if they were paying the utility. And so what we're addressing is the issue of the prohibitive upfront cost, at least what some people feel is a barrier to getting involved in solar. The members of our co-op are primarily individuals, though we do have a few organizations, non-government organizations, for example, and some small corporations. For instance, and importantly, we have several credit unions that have bought shares. And to be a member, we're set up so that people buy a $50 Class A member share. They just need the one, and then they can buy one or preferably more Class B preferred shares. And that's the investment aspect of being a shareholder. So we're up to 290 members, collectively owning 1,655 of these Class B shares, and the value of that is fixed at $950. We did include the option. After the first several years, we managed to include the option that people can have their SES Solar Co-op shares registered as RRSPs for tax purposes. And that's through an arrangement with the what's called Common Good Capital, which is a program of the Workers' Federation based in New Brunswick. Our share offerings is the primary way that we raise capital to build our installations. And of course, as share offerings, they are provincially regulated. Financial and Consumer Affairs Authority needs to approve any of our share offerings. We've had 3 so far, 2 of which we obtained extensions for to run them for longer. And that provided the capital to build the installations we've created so far. And then, of course, the lease fees provide operating revenue and offer the potential for dividends. And we have 3 times now been able to provide dividends to investors. There are a few other sources of revenue for our co-op. We've had some donations. We've had a few small grants for specific purposes, sometimes as a bridging mechanism between share sales to raise funds and the cost of building an installation. We've used member loans as basically as a bridging tool, short-term loans paid back to members. And finally, we most recently with our largest installation at Cas New Holland Industrial, we're able to benefit from the federal clean tech refundable investment tax credit, or ITC, which substantially lowered the cost of installing the array in the first place. So that's my description, and that's how we operate. And looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Bert.
Yeah, thank you to our presenters. And just before we move into the question and answer and interactive portion of this particular webinar, we're just going to take a quick pause because for those who are watching the recording later, we will not be including the live Q&A and the interactive portion in that recording. So everyone who's here on the call right now, please stay online. And we just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors once again, the Government of Canada's Low Carbon Economy Fund and Quest Canada. And thank you to any of you watching this recording on playback. And so to take us into the Q&A, we've had a few questions. Some have been answered live in the chat. Some have been answered live on screen. We just have a couple of minutes here before we want to dive into our breakout discussions, because that really is where all the magic's going to happen today. So for the sake of time, if we have additional time at the end, we can answer some of these questions we don't get to then. So a question from Janice, which I think is aimed towards either Peter or Marianne. How much do you think the winter peaking of the province affects the utilities' appetite for solar and hence the value they pay for it?
My honest my honest answer, sorry, is that I don't know. I mean, in the province of BC, I'm more familiar with BC Hydro and its approach, and that definitely is an impact for the province of BC and how they look at solar, but they're also very interested in seeing it essentially as a energy efficiency technology, so reducing the demand for their customers behind the meter. So it does have an impact in BC, but not quite, but not a full impact. I suspect with Saskatchewan, the biggest issue might just be that it's not fossil fuels. And of course, the provincial government there is very pro fossil fuels. So, okay, next question.
Thanks, Peter. So this one is focused at CECC, so I will take this one. Out of curiosity, is the CECC working to lobby the big 5 banks to come up with specialized credit for residential homeowners who would like to install solar without the greener homes loan opportunity? I can say that right now we are not. That might be something that we can consider for the future. Our priority right now is to support community energy generators and their operations. Residential solar installation is lower on our list of priorities because there's often other incentives and things that go alongside that. But we would definitely be happy to support any advocacy efforts that lead to the further implementation of renewable energy across the country. So please reach out separately to that. And then a final question just for Bert. Do any of your installations supply power to Sask Power? And if so, what approach is taken to sell your power to them?
Well, largely not. And for example, with our biggest installation, the behind the meter installation at Cas New Holland Industrial, Sask Power was quite insistent that no extra power when it was available, would be allowed onto their grid from that installation. We do, under what was originally a net metering program that they had, yeah, we do have a small amount. The Ness Creek site, for example, is connected to SaskPower's grid. It's 250 kilometers north of Saskatoon. And that's under what was a net power program that they did have, but they seriously curtailed that several years ago. And then we have facilities, installations that are inside the city of Saskatoon. And the city of Saskatoon actually has its own local utility. It's like a little island inside the provincial utilities grid. So they have a smaller version of a net metering program, and we're connected to those in several cases. So we operate in three modes, but for the most part, I would say we don't put a lot of power onto SaskPower's grid. They're not really amenable to it. And I mean, they've recently shown support for an approach that favors independent power producers at a small utility scale, like some of those great initiatives on the part of First Nations. But in terms of the SES Solar Co-op, I wouldn't say we're a large contributor to the provincial grid at this point. Long answer, sorry.
Thank you, Bert. That was very informative. I'm going to hand it over to Marianne, who's going to lead the breakout sessions.
Thanks, Jody. Are you able to pop the Miro board link into the chat for everybody?
Absolutely.
Great. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now because we are going to be going into some breakout rooms where we are going to be discussing three fictional prairie cities, just so that we can, collectively explore how we might be able to accelerate local solar adoption in those fictional cities. The fictional cities do kind of match real cities on the prairie, both Manitoba and Saskatchewan, which, both have differences in terms of just the utility landscape, the sentiment on solar, and also the future power supply considerations that both utilities want. So I'm just going to give you a quick introduction, and then if everybody follows that link, you should be able to access the Miro board where we've posed some questions that we can discuss in our groups. So the three cities that we're going to be looking at, first we have Riverbend, which is a large metropolitan center, much like the city of Winnipeg, with an electric grid dominated by hydroelectric energy and relatively low electricity rates. The second city we're going to look at is Sunridge, which is a fast-growing mid-sized city, something similar to like a Moose Jaw or Swift Currents in Saskatchewan. Has higher electricity rates, but some newer growing housing stock and strong home ownership, and lots of sunlight year-round. Solar makes sense, but there's not much financial support for homeowners to choose solar. It makes their installs difficult. And then the third city we're going to look at is North Prairie Junction, which is a smaller and remote northern community. Electricity costs can be higher. Reliability is also a concern in the north. Homes are detached with a lot of rural homes as well. And solar may be less about climate change in an area like this, more about climate resilience, energy resilience, affordability, and community self-reliance in the case of, less reliability on a power grid. So each community has sunshine, each has homeowners, but the context for each is going to be slightly different, whether it's economics, the mix of the electrical grid, culture, the growth of each community, and just local capacity. So we are going to break out in one of those three rooms. It's going to be at your choice, but hopefully you can see how many people are at each room and pick, to sort of distribute yourselves. And we are going to try to discuss what the best adoption model might look like for that community that you're in. We've got sticky notes to be able to write down your comments for the questions. And if you're not comfortable writing it down or just the Miro is difficult to use depending on your setup, that's fine. We will have facilitators in each room, myself, Jody, and Peter, and we'll be able to write down the discussion as we go. So I don't know how much time we have for it. Hopefully about 15 minutes, probably.
About 15 minutes, I think, is about right.
Perfect.
So you should all have had an invitation to join the breakout rooms. Please just click on the room of your choice and join your fellow participants and have a great conversation.
I see about 14 people in there right now, so let us know, though. Jody and I can remain here for a bit to make sure that you're all in.
I didn't get an invite.
It should be in the chat.
Oh, it's the link. Okay.
Should be a link in the chat. Yep.
Okay, good. Thanks.
No worries.
Hi, everyone. Just checking in. Are you having difficulty accessing the rooms?
Yeah, I don't see a link in the chat window.
It should have been a pop-up box. Should have come up on your screen.
Oh, let me look under my browser. I don't see it.
It wasn't in the chat. There's a breakout rooms box to open it up.
I can also assign you if you don't mind where you end up.
You can find me. I can't find
Yeah.
where. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's it. I'm scared. Oh! Oh my gosh, it's the guy from South Park. For sure.
Here.
Where's that blue logo?
Again, you have to respect your teacher and answer her questions. Hey, do you want to get infinite time?
I wish it was just so be realistic and like, where's my food?
Sometime.
Yeah, what you call me?
There's your buddy, baby. Sauce for you. Here's yours. Some fries.
No, I don't like that.
You don't want any fries?
And W.
Okay.
For fries. Eggs.
Want the onion rings? You want an onion ring, Ophelia?
This one.
The big one? Okay.
I don't want it.
I'll give it to me.
I don't even want the onion. I would even eat the crust. I'm gonna go to the living room.
No, this is right here.
Why?
Because they want to get to the table.
First, they want the tablet. I'm gonna go watch on the TV. You guys, his tablets are over there. It's on the couch. Also, my book.
You want some fries?
Yes, please. Hard to do a lot. This is not for you, Richie. Oh, sure.
Oh, I'll get you something to drink, girls. I forgot.
Perfect place, but it might be hard for her. I could go on my mom's account on my Switch. Okay. No, but and then I could play on yours. Yeah. Wait, but
Who wants one?
me, please. Me. Oh, me. No, hopefully, I'll just try and take it from her. Where are they?
There's one more.
Where?
The top shelf. Okay.
I won't touch it. There you go. Hold on. Bring it over there. Oh, no. Move cat. I'm just trying to get away from her. Her again. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Leave Moose Cat alone. No. It's okay, Moose Cat. It's okay. I kept it like that. Daniel. By the way, Moose Cat's okay right there now. Moose, what are you doing? This is not for you, Moose. This is. Hey, Moose Cat. No, you can't have it. I don't know if you're allergic to anything in this.
Hey, I'm hoping everyone can find their way back.
I think the leave the breakout room button was not live and everyone pressed leave the meeting.
Oh no. Why is the breakout rooms not working?
Yeah.
It's selected. It says allow participants to return to the main session. Don't know, we're having all kinds of fun with technology over this webinar. So hopefully we don't lose too many people. The rooms are automatically going to close in 30 seconds. So hopefully everyone will just be booted back in if they.
So did other people end up leaving the whole meeting?
Yeah, it said like, leave room, but somehow I did leave the whole thing. So
Hopefully we don't get too many glitches going forward. That's the beauty of technology. When it works, it's brilliant. When it doesn't, it's annoying.
well, it's kind of like the weather, though. We can all sort of sympathize.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna close the breakout rooms. Everyone's getting really upset because they're probably having great conversations. Hey, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the conversation. Marianne, are you here?
I am.
Perfect.
I think my mic is on. I'm going to share my screen again, and I know we've only got a few minutes left here, so we may not have time for a robust discussion after this. Let me just share. Can you see that all again?
Yes.
Thank you. So reporting back on ideas, solutions, and difficulties. I know in general from our group, we, discussed a lot of different aspects of both the programs as well as just the local sentiments in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and came to the conclusion that some type of a solar co-op model would probably work best because the other two programs, whether it's group buy or having a concierge, can also be layered within a solar co-op. So starting at a grassroots level with a community solar co-op, and then layering in other programs as needed, depending on what the membership is interested in.
And to confirm, Marianne, you were in Sunridge? Is that right?
Sunridge, yes, which is sort of a mid-sized growing prairie city.
Sure. So I had North Prairie Junction, and our community is pretty tight-knit. We're pretty far away from big urban centers. We suffer from the occasional energy vulnerability. We have high electricity prices, and we really thought that the bulk buy model would probably work well in our community, primarily because we have a lot of sort of single family homes, and there's a real opportunity for neighbors to come together and collaborate on a project. In doing so, reducing costs of installation and purchasing. We thought this would be great because being so far away from an urban center, costs may invariably just be higher anyway for to do an install. So by coming together, you might bring the pricing down into a more attainable cost. We also talked a lot about battery storage and the need for resiliency and backup, and perhaps education around energy literacy and the benefits of solar and battery, and a community battery backup, which could also be a community project funded by a community co-op or something else. Peter.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we landed on essentially again the bulk buy option. So looking at something like iChoosr should have a lot of potential. The fact that our community, which was Riverbend, and we're basically just calling it Winnipeg, and has a lot of hydro and very low and stable power prices. But having said that, people did feel like that shouldn't necessarily be seen as a reason not to have solar because there's going to be increasing electrical demands with electrification, and also there's going to be increasing interconnections with other provinces. So exporting green power will be beneficial as well. We also discussed we discussed the models are not mutually exclusive, and we also discussed the cooperative approach as well. So because you have a number of people in apartments, and we also talked about the assuming this community might have a fairly large Indigenous population, as Winnipeg does, that the cooperative approach, the community cooperative approach, might work quite well with First Nations bands, and making sure that members are given opportunities. It might be a good way for bands to help members to benefit from solar. So yeah, hopefully that helps. So.
Thank you. And what I can do as well is outside of this, I'll summarize the thoughts that were on that Miro board as well, and I can provide that to everyone in a follow-up email.
That would be great. Thanks, Miriam.
All right. Quick little Zoom poll for all of you before you exit, just based on the discussions that we just had after hearing all the presentations and talking about it. Which of the three models that we have discussed and looked at feel most relevant or feasible in your municipal context? So not necessarily in the fictional breakout rooms, but in your own municipal context. And you can choose more than one. And we'd love it if you could also do a short answer of why, because we will use this in our research as well.
And while everyone is just taking a moment to fill out that poll before you all escape to hopefully not more meetings, I just want to take the opportunity on behalf of Community Energy Corporate Canada to thank everyone who took the time to join us today. We really hope that you found the discussion insightful. And to do one more shout out to our event funders, the Government of Canada's Low Carbon Economy Fund and Quest Canada, who is supporting the research that Community Energy Association is doing. Thank you also to our event partners, the Community Energy Association. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for sharing your skills and knowledge with us today. And I will hand it over for any final remarks from the Community Energy Association before we wrap up the event.
For myself, I just wanted to thank everyone for participating in this session today. It's always great to have many different voices coming together on a topic because you all add a unique perspective to finding solutions for this. We are working on, a solar research project for across the prairie, a couple of different projects looking at solar adoption in communities. So this has been very beneficial to hear all of your opinions as well. And Jody, we are going to share our slide deck for this as well with the participants, I think. So we will put that together for you and send it out in a follow-up email.
Yes, happy to. We'll share the recording and the slide deck for all registrants of the event, and the video recording will be on CECC's YouTube channel once it has been edited and shortened slightly.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's it from all of us. If you haven't done so yet, please answer the poll. Research on community energy is much appreciated. And we'll say thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you all.
Evening. Bye.
Thank you.